Good evening. Y'all good? Yo, so my name is Drew. I am the founder and owner of the Aware brand.
I'm Josh Waters. I'm a singer and a songwriter originally from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Atlanta is home to me now.
Evening, everybody. My name is Ariane Camille. I am a licensed professional counselor. I'm also an emotional wellness coach to entrepreneurs. And I am the founder of Emotional Exchange, which is not just my brand and my business, but it's also a model that I use to create safe spaces in every room that I'm in. So I'm glad to be here.
Hey y'all, thanks for showing up for yourself. I'm Felicite Césaire. I am a mental health advocate and also a bacterial meningitis awareness advocate. That's something a lot of people don't know about, but it's something I'll educate you on soon. So my background is in mental health and it is my life's work, and so that's why I'm here today.
What's good, y'all? My name is Francis. Y'all know I just did the Good Book Workshop. Originally from Brooklyn, had a lot of creative endeavors through my time, worked in production where me and Drew linked, been in fashion, shout out to Vintage Heavy, and now I'm working in advertising as an art director. And I started a Good Look as an opportunity to be the good homie, to look out for people and give resources that I wish I would have had.
My name is Ladoon Thompson. I am owner of Covered by God Clothing. I'm an actor, Nigerian American. I'm here. When did I moved to Atlanta probably like 2-3 months ago, something like that. So yeah, I'm fresh. But the crazy part is I am a Grady baby too at the same time. So that's the craziest part. Yeah, you ain't know that. But I started my brand just with the intentions of bringing God to the forefront, especially in fashion. But overall, like along the line, just spreading the good word. That's the main reason I started the brand. So yeah.
Word. So I had an old podcast. It was called Aware Combos. And all our guests, we'll ask all the guests, when did your self-awareness journey start?
My journey started as a kid. I came here different. I came here somewhat aware of myself. Like I can remember at 5 coming to my parents, kind of prophesying, so to speak. And so my pops passed. Let's start there. My pops transitioned when I was 7. And from there, he was the only child. My mom only had sisters, and all my cousins was street dudes, right? Which is cool. But I knew at a young age I had the ability to discern that that wasn't the route I was supposed to take. And so, shout out to my mom. She did her thing, but I had a real heart desire to position myself around things that would place me here where I am today. You know what I mean? And so, I think starting that journey as a child, it's never ending. So I always entered new seasons where I was required to grow if I really wanted to remain self-aware, or was I comfortable with the ceiling that came with this season. So to enter that one, you got to deal with those devils and those demons to grow into whatever that avatar is presenting in that season, right? So I've been that person my entire life. And so that's not like to like, I don't know. I'm unique the way that everybody else is, but as far as my aware journey, my self-aware journey, I came here like that, man. And so I use music to, I guess, kind of place me around other people and give them the opportunity to be aware of themselves. So yeah.
For me, I'll start with when I realized that I had like a gift. When I was in 3rd grade, I had a counselor come into our classroom, and my teacher recommended for me to be a part of this special group with peer-to-peer mentors, where the counselor came in and taught us how to diffuse arguments on the playground. So instead of the teachers being the ones to catch everything, we knew that kids was bad. In elementary school, they cussing each other out. There's little fights that's happening by the swings and stuff like that. So they equipped another group of children to go out on the playground and diffuse arguments between people. So I was very young, learning like emotions matter, learning that people's voices and what their opinions are matter. And I really learned very quickly that two people can have completely different perspectives about one thing that happened. So it was very like, I was chosen to become a counselor very early, and I used those skills throughout my entire life. So middle school, my phone was blowing up where people was getting in arguments with their little middle school boyfriend, and Ari, I don't know what to do. And then guys started calling me too, and I was supporting my homies like, yeah, bro, you gonna have to do this because she ain't really feeling that. And that just continued to happen throughout my entire life. And when I got to college, I just knew that I was going to become a journalist. I wanted to be Oprah. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have a stage. This is what I want to do. But then I realized reporting the news. At my college, they didn't have a big, like, broadcasting program. And I went to a predominantly white school, so they didn't really feed what I wanted to do. So, yeah, we started reporting news, and they wanted me to go to different accidents, and I'm like, I care about the people. I was writing reports like, this person felt exhausted by this and they were crying, and they were like, nah, that's not the assignment. Like, what time did the accident happen? I was like, I don't know. They were like, see? I was like, man, I gotta switch this up. So I ended up in psychology. But when I realized that my self-awareness journey mattered from serving others was when I started living by myself. When I got my own apartment, I went through a lot of ups and downs, being aware of just different nuances of how our brains work. And I was faced with demons and voices and anxiety and all these things that I had to figure out how I was gonna battle. And when I became aware of my own power to change my thoughts, that's when I felt like, oh yeah, I'm strong. I can do this. So yeah, that's me.
It's crazy because I failed to mention that I'm a proud Haitian American from Boston, so shout out to any Haitians out there. So growing up in the Haitian culture, it wasn't like, it was just a bad thing if you talked about your mental health or if you even said that you were sad or if there was something wrong with you. But growing up, I unfortunately had to see two of my brothers suffer from schizophrenia and also bipolar disorder. And so when you're around and you're the youngest, they push you to the side. They're like, yo, don't talk about it. Let's keep her in a corner so she doesn't really have to experience this. And I think at a young age, I had to start coming up with my own story of what situation was happening and self-diagnosing and teaching myself like what is going on. So my passion came, and I call it the furnaces for gold, because I was a missionary for over a year. And over that time of leaving what was familiar in that Haitian culture, of being so scared to talk about mental health, and then being by myself to figure things out, that's when I realized, like, wow, I have to help people find the language for what they're experiencing in life. I have to help people find the language for what my family couldn't really teach me or didn't really have the terminology for. So that's where I, started to become aware. Like, I had to look within, seriously. I left the hood, lived in Germany, Africa, Hungary, and Poland, and had to meet and see people from so many different cultures and how they interact and how they express themselves and how they even see themselves, to find like what it is my passion really was. So that's why I'm in this mental health space, and that's how I became aware.
Yeah, I wish my story was that deep. Like, mine started, unfortunately, with a tragedy. In 2021, my grandmother passed on my birthday, and it was more so the passing hurt, but it was like the support and she was like my spiritual guidance. You know what I'm saying? Like the voice of reason when there's things that I'm trying to deal with and I don't really know how to navigate. I would just call her, and it was never a, a moment where she felt like she was putting stress in the world or putting worry. She was always like calm and cool with it. And so when I lost that, I was like, I was fucked up, bro. Like, I didn't really know how to move, because without like that solid support that is unwavering, is kind of in depth or entrenched in something that's valuable like religion, and you lose that, it's kind of like, fam, where do I go? So like almost like Drew. I went to Walmart after she died, and I just picked up a journal because I picked up a composition book because when we was cleaning out her house, I had come across a few of her journals, and like that, like I start to see like her ability to kind of confront the thoughts that she was having without it affecting us, the family. You know what I'm saying? You would never know, but she let the page be her vehicle to freedom. So I was like, all right, if it worked for her, I might as well. I can try it. And so, it's like post COVID, so you're trying to get back in the swing of things, but I'm still, I'm just writing. I'm just trying to get it out. And, once you're done with the book, it's like, what's next? Where do I go from here? I tried to look for things that spoke to me for real, but honestly, most journals was geared towards women, or they was like very feminine leaning. So I was like, nah, I couldn't do that. So if you call yourself a creative and you see an opportunity to be creative, you have to take that. So I took it upon myself to make a good book, but it wasn't like I wanted to be this thing. It was like, yo, I needed something, it wasn't there, and I tried to fill a void.
I think my journey in coming to this space of awareness, I think a lot of it came from my childhood. I think there's always been like flashes of it, man, you can't tell me maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I really felt like, I'm like, man, I'm a happy person. I grew up in a 2-family home. There is nothing wrong. But over the years in my childhood, now as I look back, I look like all these breadcrumbs, like God gave me these breadcrumbs on this journey that I have to go on. And I think that one of the biggest things that really like open your eyes, the thing that like brings light is darkness. You know what I'm saying? And when I'll say that is heartbreak. Heartbreak will open your eyes to who you are. So I think that's one of the biggest things I got to really know and learn and understand who I am. It made me really question, why am I like this? Why do I do these things? And then now, as I continue to look back now and I start to look at things that occurred in my life, and I see how intentional God is about every single thing that happened, the good and the bad, and even the seasons when it felt like nothing was happening. So now more than ever, it's like looking back for me is looking back at all the things that occurred in my life that brought me to where I am. It's a constant journey. Just like happiness, being aware is a journey.
We all talked about when the journey started of us being aware, but what are some frequent mental challenges that people face but may not even be aware of, that they might be going through something mentally? But like, what are some that when you talk to some of your clients, what are some of the things that come up?
All right. Yay. I think, you know, when I come in contact with clients, some of them don't know that they're depressed. Some of them don't know they're on the verge of an anxiety attack or a panic attack. Some of them have so much stress and weight that they're carrying, but they're just going through. Something that I ask my clients is I ask them, like, okay, well, what did you do to manage that season in your life? And it makes them think about what tools and strategies, who their systems were. I said, okay, well, you didn't have a therapist during that time. Well, then who did you talk to? Well, I really don't like talking about things, because if I talk about it, then that means that I'm bringing it back up, and I'm going to feel certain things. And I just have to remind people that regardless of where you put your emotions and your feelings, they have to come out of your body, whether that is through exercise. We're here for mindfulness. Being present enough in each season is so important because it gets it out of your system.
One of the things I stand on principles wise is mind, body, and spirit, right? But like recently, emotion came up for me. I was like, yo, I don't emotional health, like mental health, physical health, spiritual health. But what about the emotional health, right? Sometimes, we forget about that. So, as a practitioner, as a coach, what are some mindfulness exercises that people can implement today to enhance their emotional health?
Yeah, a lot of people think that mindfulness or self care like you need some big routine or you need a lot of money to do it. And honestly, we do things every day that if we are intentional about our actions, we can have better, smoother, calmer lives. When you cook breakfast tomorrow, when you cook dinner tonight, put your phone away. Turn the TV off, put on some calming, chill music, not your favorite rap song. Put on something that is going to soothe your soul and calm your nervous system. Smell the onions, even though they might be a little strong, but smell the garlic, smell the peppers. Like, take it easy. The biggest mindfulness tool that you guys have is to slow down. Slow it down. Take a deep breath. When you get in a car, don't just jump, start, oh, I got to get to my next destination. Take in where you just came from a little bit. Like, you guys have the opportunity to practice mindfulness all the time. You don't have to go somewhere. You don't have to do something special. You can just do what you're doing, but slow it down. Another technique is box breathing. Andane did a breathing exercise with you guys, a breathwork exercise earlier, but 4-4-4 box breathing. Inhale through your nose, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and practice that.
Yeah, that's good. Actually, yeah, we y'all, if just in case y'all missed it, we did a breathwork exercise earlier, and we did a journaling workshop. But anybody got any other techniques that they do on a daily to kind of keep their emotional health intact or their mental health intact? Anybody want to share?
I feel like I want to piggyback off the like slowing down, even being able to process where you just came from. I don't know if anybody else does this, but I sit in my car for a little bit because I'm like, oh shoot, like I made it home. That's already a big deal. Like I'm just so thankful to God that He got me safely back to where I am. And I sit in the car for a minute and I process everything. But one of the biggest things I do is I love the Beltline. I always go for a walk. Like I had my friend walking for a few hours one day, but I really love that because it clears my mind and it really boosts my like mood, my endorphins, whatever I need. Like that gives me so much clarity. So going for walks, even to hang out with friends, I'd be like, "You want to go for a walk? Can we just do that real quick?" But yeah, that helps me a lot.
I think shout out to American Outfitters, going hiking, like taking in nature. It's a great way to uh, to level the nervous system and also just recognize what's real in the world. I think sometimes we got a lot of stimulation around us, but a lot of it is fake. So getting back to something that is of nature gives you the opportunity to just calm down, take that moment, as she mentioned, and to really recognize the thoughts and the feelings that you're going through.
That's what's up. And I just wanted to talk about emotion for a second, because did you see my post from the other day when I said it starts with the mind, right? The mind creates the thought creates the feeling creates the action, and then you get the result. So it's important that we, it starts with the mind, and you have the choice, like you said, right? To create the thoughts that you want to have, because the thoughts actually become a reality. So be mindful of your thoughts and take the time, like they said, to slow down, spend time with nature, just take a beat, just relax for a second, because we live in this super fast world now. The time is flying, we're on our phones all day, so we even miss it more now. So just take time, Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, positive mental health and positive emotional health is an action verb. I say it all the time. You have to take action to change and shift your mood. If you're sitting in your feelings and I believe in the same thing. I call it top down. We operate top down. So our thoughts create feelings, which create movement. So if you look at your feet and you're feeling stuck, if you're looking at your feet and you're feeling discouraged, like things aren't going your way, check your heart and check the thoughts that you're feeding yourself. 9 times out of 10, you're telling yourself that you ain't shit, you ain't did enough, you're not gonna do wherever you have planned to do, and it's causing you to feel discouraged. Other people are watching you and they feel inspired. Other people are watching you and they are proud of you. But if you're having thoughts that don't make you feel pride, then you're going to be stuck. So,
Love
second that.
Yeah.
1,000.
Yeah.
Top down.
Mindful creative, you feel me? Um, So Francis, man, I'm gonna swing it to you, man, because we're talking about affirming things and having these thoughts and journaling. For me, I do that. Like I write in the future, So, and we did an exercise earlier where we just did free writing for 5 minutes. Can you talk about the power of just picking up a pen, grabbing a notebook, and just writing that free will?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's freeing. I think the best thing that can be said is a journal, once again, doesn't judge you and allows you to be your most authentic self. And it allows you to really express the thoughts that you might not want to express to the homie, to your mom, to whomever is in your life, but you get to put it out there so you at least recognize it. You're no longer avoiding it. You're not playing around like it's not a thing. It's something that's on your heart and it's on your mind, and you give the page the opportunity to reveal itself to you.
Love that. So, for those who might journal for the first time tonight, can you give us some prompts that can be easy for people to just get ahead and get start writing?
I mean, like we did earlier today, if you missed it, first thing is start with gratification. Start with the things that you're appreciating, because that is where you give yourself the opportunity to recognize the blessings. And then the next thing is we got to be real with ourselves. What is blocking us? What is hindering us from moving forward? And you got to be real. You can't play around with yourself, because if you lie to yourself, it will show up again. So give yourself the opportunity to face it. It might be difficult, it might be challenging, but it's better in the rear view than in front of you, right? So it's like those two, I would say off top, start with that. Start with what you're blessed with, and then recognize what you got to do to move past the blockage.
That's real. Something came up for me is like, to really not lie to yourself, might pop a mushroom. Cause it's gonna come up.
I mean,
You're
if
gonna have to
you
face
want
it.
to go psychedelic, go right ahead. Yeah.
Shout out to all my shroom poppers out there. That's a whole nother segment, plant medicine segment coming in a minute. All right. I had to break the ice. It was getting too serious in here, man. Golly. All right.
I would recommend microdosing.
Microdosing, yeah. A gram and a half will be good. Felicite, I want to talk to you about mental health, because I've been on your Instagram, and you post about mental health. You're an advocate. I wonder, what are some of the misconceptions that you face around mental health, and how do you handle them?
So, one that I hate is like, people are always like, "Oh, I'm not crazy. I don't need mental health therapy. Like, I don't need to talk to people about what I have going on." But then you see them react to something so small because they never had the moment to express themselves. Like, people don't have the language and they need to figure it out. But like, I go to therapy because I have big dreams and big ideas. And so I have to go somewhere. If I can't turn to my friend at that moment, because people have a lot they're dealing with too, let me go seek professional counsel. Let me go talk about this great idea that I have that I've never seen done before in my life or in my friend group or even in my family. I need to go somewhere to process what I'm about to do, this big thing that's about to happen. So therapy isn't just because you're crazy or you self-diagnosed yourself with something or somebody else is calling you out. You have to like figure it out for yourself. I need an outlet. You need to find something, because we're going through so much like every day, and then like being on social media all the time. That's why I use my platform to be able to be like, all right, Buki, you need to take care of your mental health. And so, yeah, I just feel like it's not about being crazy. And another thing, I have a 14-year-old niece that is looking to me as an example. And unfortunately, parents, older generation, they're not used to going to therapy or seeking that counsel. And people think that once you go to a mental health professional, I don't know if you hear this, but they're gonna give you pills or drugs to, I guess, regulate what you have going on. That is not the case. Like, and I wish people would stop doing that. Maybe this is the opportunity for y'all to know that it's not something that you're gonna just get pills for and they're gonna diagnose you right away. You have to be mindful of whatever professional that you go to be like, help you break down what it is that you're really going through, and then find what like makes sense, not just any diagnosis.
Right now, and I want to state it because that was good, yeah. Because what's the difference between a psychologist and a psychiatrist? Can you explain that?
Yeah, a psychologist is someone who has a doctorate in psychology. So they have studied research to support the history and the diagnoses of psychology. But a psychiatrist is someone who is trained in medications, like with your neurology, your brain, your chemicals, and all of those things, and they can prescribe you medications. But I'm so glad I gotta take her with me. I so you come with me anywhere. I'm so so glad that you mentioned that therapy, you can share your big dreams with your therapist because it's not always about an issue. Sometimes it's really about just wanting to get, I had a good day and I want to figure out how to get to the next level, how to maintain good days like this. Like I'm so glad you said that because as a emotional wellness coach to entrepreneurs, we talk marketing, we talk social media, we talk about confidence and how to get out your content and which one looks better, feels better, and why you feel better talking to the camera versus the lights and all of this stuff, you know? Like, so therapists are equipped to support you guys in all ways.
Now, that's good that you mentioned that because I just got done with their therapy early this year. And my therapist was like, yo, I think you're done with me, but you should seek a therapist in business. And I didn't even know that even existed. You know, and I didn't even know, like, damn, he was like, because all you do is talk to me about your business issues. He said, I think you're good personally. I mean, you still got to evolve, right? But from a business standpoint, he was like, you need to talk to a therapist that is mastered in business so you can really flush it out with him because I'm not the guy for you. And I thought that was amazing because some therapists would just keep coming to them, keep talking, and keep collecting that check. You know, but he had the integrity and he stood on his business and said, yo, I think you need to go see somebody else to talk about business. So I thought that was good. And I'm happy that y'all both mentioned that because it might be some people out there that may want to seek therapy but for certain categories. And, you know, so it may not be just about the emotional health. It might be for some other things. But I want to pass it on to my brother Ladoom. I like to say he's a faith-based brand owner. God versus my enemies. You might have seen it around the world. But how does your faith influence your creative process and your mental health?
That question is loaded. Um, First, shout out to these lovers right here. You guys,
Nah, I keep
I
looking to.
can't.
I'm like, y'all.
It's like
I like that.
It's like exuding over here. Yeah, I love it. It's something so affirming about what's going on right here. I love it. I feel it feels good. Keep doing what y'all doing. Run that question back.
I said, so how, how does your faith influence your creative process and your mental health?
Okay. So faith influences my creativity and mental health. Okay, so let's go with creativity first. Ooh. So this year has been more of a year of leaning into obedience, right? And really hearing God's voice, right? And I can truly say that anytime I've tried to lead in my flesh, right, like in the thing that I want to do now, especially with me and my and just being in a space where I'm connected to God on this level, right? There's just so many things God won't allow me to just do out of ego anymore. It just doesn't work. So now I'm more tapped in with um, connecting with the spirit. And one thing I've been leaning, out of the prayer room, I've been kind of like the biggest thing I've been focused on is really knowing God's voice, right? Because in the past there are things I've I've moved on and I just didn't know for a fact it was God's voice, but I was just like, sounds good. Um, but now my focus has been really like identifying God's voice. And so creativity wise, there's just some things I'm just not doing anymore. I don't mind being still right now. But anytime I've really, really tapped in to what God has told me to do, boy, that thing, like nothing can stop that, the motion of that. Like it's the space of where like the how, the when, the why, the what. That the flow is so easy with when God when my faith is fully in it. And then when I say really hearing God's voice, because a lot of times, we're praying to God for certain things. We want God to show us something. We want God to reveal something to us. And a lot of times, and I guess a little spiritual here. The same way we're trying to hear God's voice and we want God to tell us something, there is an enemy that's really like trying to confuse you as well. So sometimes it's really we haven't taken the time to really identify what God's voice is. Sometimes we hear it go, and the enemy will present you an opportunity to do something else that can be good but not great. You know what I'm saying? So, and that good thing can hold you back so long. So when it comes to creativity now, my faith is really talking to God about what my next steps are. You know what I'm saying? I got to move out of the thing that I want to do so much. And my ego, that thing, boy, I'm really been trying to die to self so much. So, and really just waiting on God on my move. When it comes to creativity right now, nothing happens unless God is involved. I don't mind being still for a long time. I don't mind, like, not things not going the way I want to. I don't mind going without for a while. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the hardest part of our journey in creativity is that we want to do it when we want to do it, when it's right on our heart. And sometimes we have to wait for the green light. Okay? So now, faith in mental health. Um, Boy, I think at this age in life, I think that my faith, when it comes to my mental health, I think God has revealed, God has revealed so much to me when it comes to the way my mind works. You know what I'm saying? The heaviness that comes. There's so much heaviness out here. And it just requires us really being able, we talk about faith, we post the memes, we share it, we share all these different things about faith. But boy, you really don't know faith till you have to lean on it and nothing changes even in your moment of faith. You know what I'm saying? But that's the thing, the pause, the in between, you know what I'm saying? That's where your faith really gets to work. You really get to be patient. So for me it has in spaces where I've been anxious, where I felt that depression falls strong on my back. When I wake up in the morning, if you're not that person who that's me. I wake up in the morning and that monkey be on my back early in the morning. I wake up like, man, life, bills, email, look, car, oil change, brakes, no text backs. Damn, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, open the phone, story. So it's like really like, so when it comes to mental health, the biggest thing now of just like speak to that mountain. You know what I'm saying? Like when I say speak to that mountain, and I just always share this story because I'm just too long, but I'm just a little rant.
When we talk about God, take your time, man. Take your time, man.
This rant is
Deacon
real
Ledoux.
though. But one thing we don't do, we ruminate. We ruminate on things a lot. And we are really, really, really worshiping that problem, right? We're worshiping that issue. We are worshiping that thing. We think about it so much, but we really got to get to that space of speaking to it, right? When I say speaking to it, is trust, like really speaking to the problem, and like really, like whatever it is. If it's finances, really saying you don't own me. You know what I'm saying? And I just sitting in that moment, we don't do that though. For a moment we think about the problem, like, man, these bills are crazy. Man, I can't believe she left. Man, I can't believe, whatever it is, we think about that. But to speak to the problem is like, you know what? For me, it's just so many. I speak to it in so many different ways. But then more importantly is I invite God into it, man. I just like, look, have your way. And it's easier to say, easier said than done. God, have your way. And then wake up the next morning and the way is not the way. It didn't go what we thought it was going to be because it's still us wanting our own expected end. You know what I'm saying? So that's like the biggest journey for me with faith and mental health is like I'm just accepting things as they are, but at the same time I'm speaking to God and saying, God, I believe that you're going to change this. It may not be today. And the hardest part about that thing is we put a time on it. That's the hardest thing. Right. The time is what kills us because we're expecting the change immediately. We're expecting it this year. But boy, what if you got to be broke for the next 5 years? But the breakthrough is in 5 years. Boy.
Yeah. Wow.
But I'm telling you, I have never ever seen, and it sounds crazy. Somebody in here may be sitting thinking to yourself, that boy just talking. But like, I have never ever seen God not show up. It's just not always on your time.
I love that, bro. I love that a lot, man. Yeah, give it up for that answer. Because look, hey, you gave a loaded answer for a loaded question, and I got some feedback right quick. So you talked about being still, and you talk about wondering if God's voice is actually God's voice.
Yeah.
So there's a thing about practicing communion with God, right? So through stillness, so being quiet, and that might be a meditation for 20 minutes, but if you get into a consistent practice of being silent, and hearing the voices, because there's gonna be a lot of clutter, right? Our mind is a recorder. So it's like this conversation today, we're gonna be hearing it later, right? But if we take our time to just breathe into just the silence, and that's where you're gonna find God, and that's where you can find the true voice, right? And also through the feeling state, right? That's when we gotta get in tune with our feelings and know, okay, does this feel good? Then that's when you know that's God. Because it's all based on the feeling, but just being silent. And then number two, you said being obedient. That's crazy, because I'm in the same season, bro. I'm in the same season. But that's where the patience comes in, right? If you can't be, it can't be obedient and not, and not patient, or patient and not obedient, right? Like it work in tandem.
Yeah.
So you got to be patient, and you got to have the faith and know and change those thoughts in your mind and say, man, I'm broke. Well, no, I'm rich. I'm rich as fuck.
Yeah.
And you affirm that every day. You get a good book and you write that shit down.
Yeah.
I made $1 million today. I made 100,000 last night. And you just keep
Fact out.
affirming it so you can change those thoughts, right? Because it's like what we just say earlier, it starts in the mind.
Yeah.
So it's all connected, and God is the biggest creator.
Yeah.
So when we spend time with God, right, we allow God to work in our lives, and we allow those thoughts to become manifestations, then we can create whatever we want to create.
Absolutely.
Because God is the ultimate manifester. All of this is based around God right here. This whole conversation, everybody in this room, it's all through God. And I'm just excited about it.
Yo,
Go ahead.
I'm gonna work backwards. 45 seconds. Obedience, because I just have to share this. Yo, my favorite quote with this is, if you're obedient when God first put it on your heart, it won't feel like so much of a sacrifice. And I can always look back to anything that I've done. Like, God has always told me when to do it, but a lot of times we focus on the why, the where, the when, the how, and we wait. And then you wait 5 years, and guess what? Now, 5 years later, got a kid, got a house, and God's still telling you to go somewhere. So it feels more like a sacrifice now because you weren't obedient when God told you to do it, when you didn't have all these things tied to you. Then working backwards, you said we said obedience, and that was the first thing you said. Silence. Oh yeah, the stillness. Being able to sit still long enough is the toughest thing in the world, and that's you look at it on a faith level, you look at it on a entrepreneur level. On a faith level, sitting in your room, being quiet, that noise is crazy. So being able to sit there and start to pull those things apart, the things that go to your head, and put them to the side to sit, that's the hardest thing. But as an entrepreneur, like, the most successful people are willing to be bored for a long time. So that's just the hard part.
Yo, good bars. But before we switch, you want, go ahead.
I got a little word.
Go ahead.
So the brand I created came from my missionary experience, and I read the whole Bible, and I was mad at God, but he told me to do it. And so I went ahead and did that. And I have to say, like, nothing moves without him. So Proverbs 17:3 says, the crucible is for silver, the furnace is for gold. The Lord tests the hearts. So in that process of even studying the word and understanding the context behind it, I'm like, dang, God, you're testing me right now. And so the furnaces for gold is the process we all have to go through in order to be who God originally designed us to be. And in everything that we do, we're gonna talk, like, you gotta acknowledge God. That's law. Like, I really believe that you have to acknowledge God in everything that you do, because this process, we're gonna go through this fire, but it's refining us and developing our character. And then you look back, you're like, dang, God, how did I make it through that fire? And then you see God is next to you. God is right here, all around you, protecting you to get you through that fire without any burns or any marks. And that's how you know, like,
That's dope.
it's God.
And I wanted to talk about God during this session because God is everything, and it starts with God, like she said. And I just wanted to acknowledge God during this session because it helps with the mindfulness. And yeah, 100%. Yeah. So I want y'all to definitely tap in with Adun because I had another question for you, but we are running on time. But make sure you tap in with Adun. He does a prayer room every morning at what time? Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9? 8:30 in the morning. So tap in with his Instagram live. He does the prayer room at Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's amazing. I'll be tapping in. I'll be trying to give a good word through the chat, but it's definitely fire, man. I am Ladoon, right? I am Ladoon. But look, we gonna look. We got a publicist over here and a therapist. Josh, man, a great musician. Listen to your music. You really surrounded around a lot of things, but you talk about a lot about mental health, and not really mental health, but like spirituality, mindfulness. So how does your music, how do you use your music as a tool to manage your emotions and coping with stress, right?
Okay, oh wow. It's an extra part to that. How do I use music to manage coping?
Manage coping and express your emotions. You
Okay.
might have a lot of emotions built up. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
and
got
your
you.
stress.
So I think, first of all, this conversation is amazing. Peace and blessings to the women up here, but for me, it means the most to be able to have this conversation with brothers. I think we don't talk enough in general. But so leading to my answer, my mom made me journal as a kid. Me and my brother, I say this often, but me and my brother used to fight all the time, and her favorite thing was like, I'm not raising Cain and Abel. So she would like send us in a room, make us write that out, make us come talk about it, and then come have a conversation with her to make sure that it's like reassurance. Like, are you just saying that, or do y'all really understand what's going on, right? And so, I'm not just a singer, I'm a songwriter, right? So when I'm writing these songs, I just task myself with being honest, bro. Telling the truth. I understand my responsibility as an artist. I get the power of music. This is no slight for anybody else who makes music and chooses to do whatever you choose to do with yours. But for me, I knew like the devil. That boy was lit. That nigga he was over music. You know what I'm saying? I believe that music has been weaponized to a certain degree to keep our thoughts in a certain loop that keeps us as a people on a certain frequency that and thus allows you to manifest a certain reality, right? And if you want to change that, excuse me, then you gotta like y'all was saying, you gotta change your thoughts, change what you're listening to. And so the programming from listening to music, I just want to be when you skip to my record, I want it to stop you on your tracks, not because of me, because I surrender to the Most High God, and I'm just a vessel. So, yes, you might hear songs about sex. Yes, you might hear songs about heartbreak. All of these things are encompassed in the experience of life. But for me as an artist, again, going back to that responsibility, if I'm telling the truth about it, I always feel and believe that that's the thing that will resonate with people. And so that's how I cope. Me writing a song is no different than a journal entry. You know what I mean? That's why when you was like, yo, you say you're gonna do 2 songs, you got this amount of time. I'm like, no, I could talk because I told the truth in that record. So I got a story that I could relate that to. You dig what I'm saying? So that's the answer to that one. Give me that other question one more time.
No. That was good. That was the answer for that question.
Money shot.
So how has having that understanding, knowing that, how has that influenced your interaction with your fans?
Yes. Bro, it go back to there's a young lady back there with this iPhone she's filming right now. She has this white, I think that's a fleece, I'm not sure. She has a low cut. However, her name is Aset Hillen, right? And so I have a health and wellness coach, a therapist. She's all of this in one. And so I'm bringing her up because what we're practicing in this season or bringing my awareness to is just being authentic, giving myself permission to be myself. I was telling you earlier as an artist, I don't have a gimmick. I'm this person. This is who I was called to be. And so as far as my interaction with my fans, I don't even call people fans. I think artists got it twisted. We in a service business. You feel me? So it's like, nah, these people aren't fans of me. They're supporters. And so I just meet them with my most authentic self and version so that energy, we get a moment and a chance to reciprocate something outside of you following me on social media, listening to the music, man. So, yeah, I try to be honest with my fans, bro, so we can have a human experience that'll allow them to keep supporting me
I
as
love
I
that.
grow. Yeah.
That's good, bro. So this question is for Ladoon and Josh. Um, can you talk about the importance of mental health in the entertainment industry? Like we're in the entertainment space. So I want, you're an actor, right? You're a singer. Like, what's the importance of mental health in the space of entertainment?
Listen, man, it's so important. Going back to my coach, there's this. I was just telling her this last Sunday, but there's a clip of Wale from like a year or two ago. He was saying how record deals should come with a therapist. I'm a person that was signed. I'm no longer signed, but when going through that, bro, if you don't know who you are, let's start here. In the black community, we breed toxicity and misogyny, bro. So everything for the most part is about swelling the ego. So we all walking around with a mask on that's so inauthentic, bro. And artists to be successful, they like boost that shit up so you can be like what? It's crazy. And so when the fame is over, that human still has to exist some way somehow. So I think it shouldn't even be optional, bro. The I think they have to go hand in hand because consciousness is shifting and we're in a new era when that we're having this conversation because it's alignment with what's happening in the universe, bro. So as that shifts continue, as those shifts continue to take place, I think it'll become more and more inevitable for the two to exist together. You can't have a creative that's not exercising this, or we could call that inauthentic. You understand what I'm saying? So I think as you continue to host these types of things and give people the opportunity for this, you won't be able to have one without the other when it's real. So yeah, hope that
Good.
answers
That was
it.
good.
That boy good. So wait, run that question back. I was so caught up in his. I'm like,
The importance of mental health in the entertainment
oh,
industry.
God, I don't know why I went with faith in my head, but they go hand in hand as well. In the industry, why mental health is so important because yo, it's so many highs and lows in the entertainment business, boy. Like, and I think you could say entertainment business. I feel like sports, the entire thing requires that because you look. One of my favorite things I always tell people is that like high school students that are like college stars, basketball stars, you're on this high, and then when it doesn't work out, like there's this ultimate low. And that's the same thing in the business. You can be cast for something this week, you could be on a show this week, you could be popping this week, and things may not work. You can also be somebody who nothing has ever worked. So you're in this space, you start questioning who you are. So mental health awareness is so important because we got to continue to encourage each other. And that's why I think faith, mental health, like, they go hand in hand, right? So that's where my spirit is leading me on this space because I think it's just so important because there's so many moments where things just don't work, right? Like things don't happen in the way you think it's supposed to, and that's why it gets so dark. So many people go into that dark space, and it's so hard to come out because what happens? Those dormant spirits, those dormant thoughts, those dormant anxiety is dormant in some people. You may not have anxiety today, but boy, you go through a season where you're about to go for for something that's going to change your life, and it doesn't work. It kicks that thing off. Depression kicked off by all these things. It's a lot of no's will set off dormant mental health issues. So that's why it's so important to be like the first thing aware about these things. You know what I'm saying?
That was good. You want to add something to that?
Well, first, I like to say that anybody who has a gift that's inside of them, anybody that creates life and has people depending on what is inside of them, their gifts, is an entrepreneur. So I categorize artists, football players, like anybody who's like, oh, I was born with this. You're also an entrepreneur because not only do you have to manage your finances, your gigs, and all this other kind of stuff, you do have to manage your health along the way as well. So, like, I believe that it's super important in entertainment business because sometimes you are on a show, like you're there performing, and literally you're embodying, like, as actors, you're embodying different characters. As athletes, you're embodying aggression and just like overpowering winner streak and competitiveness. These are spirits that have to overcome you when you're playing the sport, when you're playing the game. So when we talk about faith and discernment and our emotions and our feelings, not being able to know how to navigate them, categorize them, like manage them, then you get lost in whatever gift that you have. We can make our gifts an idol. That's not like, we're not against that. You know what I mean? So mental health is necessary for wherever you guys are. If you're someone who is, chasing a dream and trying to make your gift, what God has placed inside of you, grow, support is necessary. Support is necessary from a professional or just from your friend.
I love that because that was going to be my last question before I open it up to the floor. And I want everyone to chime in on this. What's one piece of advice that you can give someone out there who may be struggling to find balance between their creative pursuits and their mental health?
One piece is gonna turn to 10. First, we are all like, if whatever you choose to believe in. I know I believe in God, and I'm sure about that. And I know that we are co-creators with Christ. He is the ultimate creative. Everything that comes through you is literally from God, specifically putting it on your heart and in you. And so I really believe that understanding your true identity and like getting to know yourself is something that's really going to set you apart and really help with your mental health process and even finding balance in your creativity. You literally should not try to do it or attempt this situation or whatever you're building without God. And so understanding your true identity and who you are is like the most important thing.
To add to that, I would just say we only get one shot at this, you know what I'm saying? And whatever idea or whatever is on your heart that you want to create, like don't play with it, you know what I'm saying? Like just like life is finite, that idea could be taken. So act on it. Give yourself the opportunity to see it manifest in the world. There's a reason why it's on your heart.
Yeah, let me just. I think that don't. This is probably like left field, but don't fall in love with the creation. Stay connected with the creator. You know what I'm saying? So don't make an idol of this creative thing you have. It's a gift. It's been given to you, but don't fall in love with it. Still like maintain that relationship. For me, is always going to be with God and somebody else with a higher power. But I'm always going to say, no matter what, don't fall in love with the gift. You know what I'm saying? Because you can make an idol of this thing. You know what I'm saying? And man, I gotta say this: we serve a jealous God. So yeah.
Respect. That's really, really good. I would say next to all of these amazing things, the journey is not linear. So be patient with yourself. Give yourself grace as you figure it out. Um, and if you look like, do it with blinders on. Cause comparison is a thief, you heard me, to like real joy. And you don't want to do that. So patience and grace with yourself is what I would say. Yeah.
These were so good. These are so good. Advice I would give you guys, I would say be kind to yourself. Be mindful of the words that you don't speak out loud, but you say up here.
Love that. I love that. Look, so we're gonna have some time to build. So if you got some questions, please pull one of us to a side. I want to get the room reset so we can have my brother Josh Waters perform for our Sounds of Awareness segment. And thank you for sitting here and enjoying this beautiful conversation. We're gonna have it up online soon, so make sure you stay aware and stay in tune with that. But please do not leave yet because I want y'all to experience my brother Josh Waters. We're gonna reset the room in like 5 minutes. He's gonna go on, so please hang out for a minute. There's pizza downstairs with a few pies. DJ Mommy Waters about to set the vibe again for a second. All right, and build with one another. You see somebody in the room you don't know, go say what up. All right, peace.